the sugar goes into the muscle. That's where the disposal is of sugar. Now, if you don't have muscle, the blood sugar cannot go anywhere. So what happens is, now we get a little bit scientific, excuse me, but I try to explain it simply. Now, the pancreas gets the signal and produces insulin. Insulin is the hormone.
Awekenge, this is Mental Matters, hosted by Asegodoto.
Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Mental Matters. I'm your host, Asegodoto, and before we dive into today's incredible conversation, I have a small favor to ask. If you enjoy what you hear today, please take a moment to rate and review our podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen. Your feedback not only helps us improve, but also helps others discover the valuable insights we share every week. And if you find today's episode particularly inspiring or insightful, don't forget to share it with your friends, family, or anyone you think could benefit from it. Thank you for your support. It truly means the world to us. Now, let's get back into our conversation.
I just want to say thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate it for you being here and also being able to talk about nutrition, health, and fitness, and also your journey of becoming Miss Universe. And I'm so excited to have this conversation with you. But also, at the same time, I want to focus more on nutrition. The reason why I'm suggesting that is the fact that people actually aren't aware more about actually how important is nutrition. And another thing that I would like to mention is the fact that in this month, actually, this podcast, I'm focusing on doing nutrition for 8 episodes, whereas through this podcast, people will be able to learn more about how important is nutrition. So with those words, I would like to welcome you to Mental Matters, and thanks so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Could you start by sharing what initially drew you to the world of health and fitness, and how you've seen this industry evolve in terms of mental health awareness?
How I got started?
Yes.
Yeah, how I got started. Well, very, very early, when I was very, very young. The thing is, I went through what I think everybody goes through after finishing school, going to college, going to start being in the workforce, and you just are not as active as you were, and you gain a lot of weight. So I started putting on a lot of weight, being unhappy, being under a lot of pressure, social pressure, how to look, what to do. I just started trying every diet on this planet and seeing, I wanted quick results. That's what I wanted. And by doing that, I never actually looked at the health side of any of it. So I did very unhealthy diets. And of course, there was the yo-yo effect, going up and down in weight. I created a lot of health issues. I ended up in the hospital. Blood work was all over the place, being way too skinny, but I was skinny fat. I was not a lean, strong, in shape person. I was very skinny and out of shape, not very strong, not having a good immune system, and being actually a lot I had depression. I was very anxious. So I had a lot of emotional up and downs, as well as my body weight went up and down. And boy, was it painful, very, very painful and unsuccessful. I was very unsuccessful. So I went back to nutrition school, got my nutrition degree just for myself. I wanted to learn how this chemistry lab called body works. And that's what I did. So after I did that, I started journaling my food. I was looking at what I was doing. I was doing the math. I had a finance degree. I was a banker. That's how I started. Yes. So I'm a numbers person. I like numbers. But by journaling, I was actually able to see what the body does and how the body reacts to different diets. So I journaled what I ate, how I felt, and what my results were. So, of course, I started weight training as well. And being at the gym, having the right nutrition, my body, oh my gosh, changed a lot. So, yeah, I put on muscle. I got in way better shape. But to be honest with you, I was still in banking. I was, still in an unhealthy relationship. Again, I created that perfect storm of not being able to succeed. I was choosing not to live an authentic life, not living who I'm meant to be. So again, I hit roadblock after roadblock until I quit my job, broke up with my boyfriend, and I decided to go to the United States to learn English. I always wanted to learn English, so it was one of my goals. So I went over there to an English school. I fell in love with the country and wanted to stay. And what did I do? It's so funny when you look back at life. I chose to go back into banking. So here I am doing an internship at a bank, and again, not being happy, but I wanted a work visa. So I talked to my immigration lawyer, and she said, well, you have no special skills, no work visa. Very simple. You have to go back to Germany. I'm like, okay, I really don't want to do it. Is there any way? And she's like, well, only if you have special skills. I said, the only special skill I have is I'm really good at lifting things up and putting them down. I'm really good at bodybuilding. She's like, okay, if you can get a world champion title for the United States, you can get a green card. Exactly. Yeah. I was like, what? Well, that's a stretch. Okay. So I had nothing to lose. And all I did was dial this down, tunnel vision. All I did was focusing on diet, exercise, sleep, repeat. I did my homework. I was like clockwork. To be honest with you, some days I felt overwhelmed, but I put it down to smaller goals, just focused on a day. I'm like, you can do one more day. One more day you can do. So what happened was I prepared for Miss Florida. I won Miss Florida, got qualified for Team USA, won Miss USA, got qualified for Miss Universe, representing the United States. And I was able to get the title for the United States. I won Miss Universe, and that's how I got my green card. And I was able to stay. So at that moment, it was actually clear for me that banking is not my future. I'm good at coaching. So I got my personal training license. I started personal training one-on-one, was at different gyms. I trained thousands of people. I got young, old, injured, any form of recovery, weight loss. So I got a lot of experience in that time. Then I got my health coaching degree because I saw that there is a connection between body, mind, and spirit. So there has to be more to it. So I connected the dots. And for me, the nutrition, the exercise, and the mental strength has to work together, the mindset, in order to be successful. So I started my own business and actually coaching now clients to be their best, get healthy, and be in the best shape of their life.
How did you look the overview of your mental health, your mental well-being?
Very good question. So, to be honest with you, I felt overwhelmed and I had a lot of fears. Yes, I did. But now I know when I feel fear, that's the way to go. That's where I need to be. I need to go where the fear calls me to go because nobody wants to feel fear, but it's a good thing because it challenges you and let you grow, makes you better. And if you feel fear, acknowledge it and say, okay, fear, I'll take you with me. You sit in the back seat of the car and I'm doing it anyway. That's what I learned.
And the way I actually just wanted to add what you said, that in a way of fear, you actually force yourself to get out of that comfortable place and move to an uncomfortable place. And one thing that I actually seen is the fact that that's when you see growth, when you see that hopefully I am achieving more things that I could. And moving on, I just want to touch on in terms of being Miss Universe. So firstly, I just want to start with a quote says that what Chris Williamson once said on his podcast, we often limit ourselves before even trying. And I just want to, in terms of stereotypes, how did you tackle stereotypes associated with women and muscle building?
Oh, yeah.
There.
There is this misconception. If you lift weights, you get bulky. Trust me, in order to build muscle, you have to lift a lot of weight. Now, for me, lifting weight and creating a body was a form of art. This is something like people paint pictures. Well, I sculpt bodies. I always had an interest in how to create and how to shape. It's an interesting thing if you talk about training. There is literally strength training, and then there is hypertrophy, where you build muscle. And these are two separate things. I was more into the look. Literally, I'm not, I would say I am stronger than other women, but I'm not a power lifter. I literally did it for aesthetic reasons. So, yes, I admit it. Now, to be honest with you, I learned by doing the sport and learning all the benefits of having healthy muscle, which is the key of longevity. You get so many benefits out of it that it's actually a non-negotiable. A non-negotiable. Everybody needs to do resistance training for health span. Think about it. Nowadays, we all talk about lifespan and we want to live a long life and we want to get to 100, but nobody talks about health span. In the United States, the average person lives to 79 years. The average health span is 63. So there's 16 years of a difference, meaning health span is the time where you're healthy, you're independent, you do what you like to do, you can do your hobbies, you can go shopping, you can travel, you can do all those things, you have no health problems. It ends with 63 and people live until average 79, 16 years of not having the quality of life because they didn't take care of their muscle. And that goes hand in hand with resistance training and nutrition.
Can you, in terms of elaborate on that when it comes to resistance training and how it actually go in hand with nutrition?
Yeah. A very big question. So, okay. What happens is sarcopenia, loss of muscle, starts in your 40s, sometimes in your 30s. So you lose muscle every year. It's 1% average. which doesn't sound a lot, but just think about it. In 10 years, in 20 years, you lose 10, 20% of lean muscle. So what happens? Remember when people or I'm sure you have heard this, when people say, I don't understand. In my 20s, I was able to eat this, this, and this. And I hit 40s and all of a sudden I gained all the weight. It must be my hormones or something, or my metabolism.